Hello, my name is Romana Fekonja and I come from Slovenia. I work as consultant in National Educational Institute of Slovenia. I would like to present you in which way primary school library can be basis for lifelong learning and using of library. We can all agree that information literacy is one of the basic skills, competencies in our life. Those skills are very important for people who wants to be active citizen. It is important for active life that we can function in society, in our life. So we can say it is important for all people. We have to start to teach information literacy very soon as students meet information. Because in our time, in our modern life, there is a flood of information, and it is very important to know how to choose the right one for our purpose. So the right questions for our students are: which information is right? How to find the one I need? And the answers are in library, and librarian is here to help to find them. We start with teaching how to handle with information early, already with children in primary school. It is important that we start with teaching how to handle with information already with children in primary school. There is enormous amount of information and every one of us must be able to search, evaluate, critically select and responsibly use those information. This is our goal of librarians and goal of primary school libraries. We have been working for many years to make all school libraries information centers, to take a step forward in development. From only borrowing books would become an indispensable and integrated part of the educational process. We would like to step forward from school library as book warehouse to school library as information center of school. School library as an information center of school means that all students and teachers, those are our users, must have access to use various sources: books, newspapers, magazines, web pages, and other online sources. We would like to move from school library as warehouse to information center, and from random visit to planned learning and teaching of library content. We would like to from only borrowing books to indispensable and integrated part of the educational process, from random visit to planned learning and teaching of library content and educational process. Students must think of the library as a place for learning, researching, and reading for pleasure. Not only students, but also teachers. That means all our users of primary school library. I don't know if we are aware enough that primary school library is usually first library students get to know and visit it. Every student in Slovenia visit primary school library at least once at the time of school attendance. But this is a very little number because every student in primary school it is in library minimum 36 hours in 9 years. Therefore, we build the foundation for lifelong learning and using library as a source of information and using other types of libraries, such as faculty, public, university, and special. But first, at the start, we begin in primary school libraries. When the little children, when they first come to the school, come visit to library also, and they borrow first books, they are listening to fairy tales, and the librarian shows them around where to find books for them. And later on, in the higher classes, we only building that knowledge. We have a special situation. It is written in our law that every school must have school library and qualified school librarian. This law was passed in 1996, and nowadays I can say that really every school has school library and qualified school librarian. Also, primary school, secondary school, and music school. In our libraries, there is obligatory minimum 36 classes or hours in primary school of library information science as cross-curricular theme. That means that collaborative teaching with one of the subject teacher. The content of the library information science must be integrated or incorporated into the lessons in such a way that the contents of the objects are enriched, give them added value. That means that the subject teachers teach subject and librarian teach information skills, how to find information of specific subject in a library or online or webnet. School librarian is a teacher and is qualified in both librarianship and pedagogy science. That means that is qualified to go to the class and teach students how to find information, how to obtain reading skills and such things. In Slovenia, we have a curriculum for library information science. We have curriculum for primary and for secondary schools. And those curriculum were adopted by the Expert Council at Ministry of Education. That is very important. That means that all schools are obliged to implement curricula in the range as stated. That means 36 hours for primary school and 15 hours for secondary school. The main overall objectives are reading, learning, and information literacy. It depends on the level of the school. As I said, we have curriculum for primary school. That means children age 6 to 14 years, and secondary school students age 15 to 18 years. Curriculums were prepared by experts from the praxis and from the faculties at the National Educational Institute of Slovenia. It means our institute. And curriculums were adopted by Expert Council at Ministry of Education. That is very important. There is no excuse for principal or for librarian that they don't implement in the pedagogical process. When curricula were adopted by Expert Council at Ministry of Education, it means that all schools are obliged to implement in the range as stated. But that is the same procedure for all the curriculums for all subjects, like mathematics, like English or languages or so on. And that means bibliopedagogical work for a librarian. Not only take care of materials and catalog, but also to work with students and to teach them how to find information, how to obtain reading skills and learning skills, and so on. Library information science is a general knowledge about information sources, their selection and use for certain purposes, if we just say in short. And goals of library information science of curriculum is getting used to independent learning for each student. For all life, this is lifelong learning. We start in primary school and then continue in secondary school. And then at the end of the secondary school, at the age 18, we say that our students are independent learners. So they are on their way to be independent. The start of lifelong learning of managing information and sources of information begins in primary school. According to our curriculum, in first years we use as the school library as an information source, then the public library, and afterwards other types of libraries. But this is very similar to the development of children, of a reader. At first, they come to primary school at primary school library, and then later they are going to public library where there is more material for them for the reading, and later on they go to the other types of libraries such as university, faculty, or special libraries. And later on, or as a parallel, they use other resources which also require skills for information literacy. We teach students to find the right information in the library, in any type of library, and librarian is always there to help, such as in primary school library, in secondary school library, in public library, faculty, university, and so on. It is much easier for users and school librarians when there is one program for searching books or documents in all types of libraries. In Slovenia, we have COBIS. This is Unified Library System. And in my opinion, that is a very good thing for librarians and for all libraries. COBIS is Cooperative Online Bibliographic System and Services. It represents an organizational model of joining libraries into a national library information system with shared cataloging, the COBIB Union Bibliographic or Catalog Database, and local bibliographic databases of participating libraries. Before 2016, when the Librarianship Act was passed, some school libraries were using different programs, which the students learned, but when they went to the public library, they found another program and they had to learn it anew. So it was a new library for students, in each way, new system to learn, but not anymore. In 2016, all school libraries switched to a single system, and now it is much easier for librarians and especially for our users. We switched to a unified library system. It is called COBIS. In primary school, we start to teach how to use one program, this is COBIS, and later on all libraries in Slovenia have this system, and users are less confused and feel more competent to search catalog in every library separate or search in one database for all libraries together. It is called base COBIB, and this is the print screen of our system. And to show school libraries in this system, if we type school, we find a primary school, and it is much more of them, like primary school Cirkovce, primary school Črna na Koroškem. Those are towns in Slovenia. And for the conclusion, it is essential that we start to teach information literacy as soon as possible in a customized way regarding the age of students. Later on, we only upgrade this knowledge. And this is the knowledge, skills, and competences for life. In primary school, we start with the lifelong learning, which never ends. Thank you.